I don't know, Nathan. There's a new Star Wars movie coming out, but I'm just not excited about it. I don't know. I mean, I like the original trilogy, including the prequels, but the last movie just totally bummed me out. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Oh, Mark, you're the only guy that I know that could take a wonderful thing like watching a beloved franchise movie, Star Wars, and make it into a problem. Maybe Alicia was right. Out of all of the Marks in the world, you're the most markiest Mark of them all.
Well, it's the holiday season, and every holiday there's always a new Star Wars movie, and quite frankly, I am not excited about it. Yes, I am one of those people that did not like The Last Jedi, and over time I kind of grew to be a little bit more receptive of it. It's fine, it's a movie, it's a Star Wars movie, and I'm just sort of, I don't know, how can there be a franchise that I've loved since I was a kid, and there's the final film in this 9-story art trilogy of trilogies, and I just don't feel that excited about the new film. It's kind of weird. I mean, I know maybe that's my problem, but I can't be the only one. You know? Right now I asked help from one of my fellow YouTuber friends, Josh Mikado, from the Higher Volume, and in the time of editing this video, I haven't got a chance to even watch this video, but I am pretty sure that he agrees with me that this movie sucks, and that I don't even have to see the new film. But yeah, well, I'm just gonna leave it off to him. I trust him in his words of knowledge, and we'll see. Yeah.
Hey Mark, it's Josh from the Higher Volume. I just want to say I heard that you're iffy about going to watch Rise of Skywalker because of all the backlash and all the bad stuff that came out of Last Jedi. But the thing is, dude, it's all about magic, and that's what I want to get to you today. The magic and wonder and charisma that come out of the Star Wars films, even if they're really bad, even if they have so many flaws, there's still that sense of wonder. And that is the child innocence in us. That is the nostalgia in us. And I really think that is what's needed to conclude the saga. It's finally coming to a conclusion. It's finally coming to an end. So go ahead. Go watch Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Be that child for the last time in the Star Wars Skywalker saga. That's all I have to say. Go grab that ticket, go grab that large popcorn, and grab that large cherry Coke, and have yourself a good time, and Merry Christmas.
Oh, damn it. Really? This is not even a joke. Oh my gosh, I hate my equipment. Well, he's not wrong there. I mean, it's a film, and even as a Star Wars fan, I do have to give it some credibility. You know, cause I mean, it is a franchise that I love, and I can't let the previous film get to me, honestly. But it's just the excitement's not there. Like, honestly, I think it's just, I mean, I could go on and forth, but there's so many YouTube videos about how there's oversaturation with the new films, how Disney's kind of milking the product. I mean, it's not like there's a Star Wars thing out there that's actually amazing and it's just as entertaining that kind of lit the spark onto why I should care about the new Star Wars film or anything like that. Right? I just don't get it. Is there anyone out there that can tell me what Star Wars is all about?
Sure, Mark, I can tell you what Star Wars is all about. Lights, please. And in our day, there was our savior, George Lucas. And he made an epic trilogy. We learned of our savior Luke in his journey. Then we got a second one. And then we got a third one that was a cash grab, Ewoks. And then we got the worst cash grab. And it was the prequels. And they made Yoda CGI. And it was horrible. And we got Jar Jar. And then it died for a couple of years. And then Disney bought it. And after Disney bought it, they decided, let's make this SJW. And they did. Mark, the true meaning of Star Wars. It's not about if you love Jar Jar, or if you hate Jar Jar, or if you love CGI Yoda, or if you love Puppet Yoda. It's not about the Anakins or the Solos. It's not about any of the films, Mark. Because no matter what, it's what you like. And that's what Star Wars really is about. But please bring back the canon!
Wow. That actually makes a lot of sense. You know what? To be honest with you, I'm actually kind of really excited about Rise of Skywalker. Like, when does it come out?
7.
Oh, I mean, okay, yeah, 7, but like what day?
Today.
7? Today? Well, I just finished watching The Rise of Skywalker, and I'm just gonna cut right to it. This is not spoilers for the moment. Don't worry, I'm gonna give like the biggest warning before I get to spoilers. But let me just try to get out as much as I can without spoiling like key aspects of the film or the story. So I went in this film like totally like, let me put it with my lowest expectations. I just want to see how the story ends. Yeah, so Rise of Skywalker, I loved it. I think it's honestly a really, really fun Star Wars movie. It has flaws, a lot of them, but what Star Wars movie doesn't, honestly? Sure, yeah, maybe the original Empire don't have problems. Overall, every movie has problems, and this one does too. And especially since you're trying to continue a story from the previous 2 films and trying to gather up 9 films of storytelling, like a culmination all into this one thing, I think they hit the mark. It was really good. Here's a list of things I like, not spoilers obviously. I really loved like the dynamic between Rey, Finn, and Poe. The previous 2 films, we never really saw them, all 3 of them together. And seeing a trio of friends like going on these crazy adventures in this film was really like amazing. It reminded me of the original Star Wars movies with Luke, Han, and Leia, and somewhat also the prequels with Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme. So I was just really glad like on the final film, they finally got to have that trio dynamic. And it was one of the heartfelt moments that I had whenever they were like just having fun or just going through this crazy motion of just being friends. And I really liked that. I loved Kylo Ren's story arc in here. They really continue off from certain aspects that were left over from The Last Jedi, and they dwell like for a while I thought they weren't really going to do anything with him in the sense of like, is he going to get redeemed or not or whatever, but a lot of things about his backstory still come up into play, and it was very moving, and I really liked this character. I liked him obviously since Force Awakens, but I remember when that movie first came out, people complained about like, oh, he's a little bit whiny, but here, like, oh my gosh, I really like, he had Darth Vader vibes when he was wearing the Kylo Ren mask again. He really presented like this very intense manner, but towards the ending of the film, like, I really enjoyed Adam Driver in this role. The use of Leia was very well handled. I thought they were going to pull like something they did in Rogue One, but they really didn't, to a degree. I'll explain later, but they do reuse scenes from Force Awakens, the deleted scenes, and it actually worked well here. It was seamless. Obviously, 1 or 2 dialogue I remember that were like, you've used this before. But it's fine here. Like, I really love that she is a crucial part in the story, and I love that they respected Carrie Fisher's appearance in these films. The other thing I really enjoy is how this film really gets into the lore of all of Star Wars. Not just with the 9 films or the spin-offs, but also some aspects from the novels, the cartoon series like Rebels and Clone Wars. All I'm trying to say is, in the overall aspect of Star Wars with the lore that they have, I really got disappointed that the newer films never really presented any of those ideas, at least until this movie did it. And it was very like, for me as a Star Wars fan, it was very like, oh yes, they acknowledge this, acknowledge that, they bring up little things, and it's like really well, like it felt like I could tell J.J. Abrams was really trying to interconnect all of Star Wars, all while not trying to like take away from these newer characters and their story. But this film did feel like a really good ending for this trilogy. There is aspects that does feel like, okay, it is the finale for all 9 films, because there is some stuff that comes into play. Like, I just really liked how it ended, at least the series that went from a mid-level, like, you know, Force Awakens being good to, personally, just me, Last Jedi being kind of to ending on such a high note. And it kind of like, it had this really good balance of the old stories and the new story. And I don't know, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I just really enjoyed it. But yeah, all without spoiling the film, that's all I could say. But if you want to go into spoilers, I'm going to put a time code here. But I'm going to put my closing thoughts with the time code and a warning. So no worries. So like, you don't even have to get to the ending of the video, honestly. But overall, The Last Jedi. Oh Lord, I'm stuck. Not that movie. Overall, The Rise of Skywalker, I had a really fun time. If you're a Star Wars fan and you really like, hey, there might be some aspects that might be a little bit iffy, but if you just go along with the ride and just not question too many things, and even then, you don't even have to question it. Some of it actually is in the lore and in the story, and the new stuff that they present isn't really that far-fetched. I think this is like a really fun movie. It's a really good adventure film. It is not my favorite Star Wars movie, but it is my favorite film in this new trilogy. It is definitely top there next to, like, well, I mean, I'm talking about myself, so don't get insulted, but, you know, I love the original 2 films and Return of the Jedi, and I love Episode 3. And this one's probably there, it's right up there, too. Like, these are, like, those are the top, like, 5 films I love now. But, it's a great movie. You're not going to be disappointed. There is a lot of aspects that are presented here that really add a finality to it. And if you... Yeah, I think you're just going to have a really good time.
The Force will be with you. Always.
So, yeah, I'm going to go into spoilers. So, I'm going to put a warning right now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So I know a lot of people are having a lot of problems that I've seen on Twitter and on Facebook about certain things that happen in this film, which I'm going to say right now, such as Rey is a Palpatine. That sounds dumb, and I can understand why people don't think that's right. Like what, how is she the granddaughter of the Emperor? When did this happen? Yada, yada, yada. You know what? Can I be honest with you? That part didn't bug me. Even in the original trilogy, the aspects of like, oh, Darth Vader is Luke's father. If you were to go into the filmmaking lore, I know George Lucas says he had everything drawn out, but he really didn't, or at least it didn't seem that way. Like, Leia becoming Luke's sister wasn't presented until Return of the Jedi, but there was nothing hinted in Empire. Maybe like when Luke needed help in the ending of the fight with Vader in Empire, but still, I just didn't really assume that they were related. And then that was added into the script. Or basically what I'm trying to say is like certain story elements of who's related to who and whatever, even the original films didn't really acknowledge too much about it. Like, a lot of people complained about who was Snoke in The Last Jedi. It's also like, who was the Emperor in Return of the Jedi if you saw it back in 1983. There's certain things you're just going to have to, like, just go in your head about. But yes, Rey is a Palpatine. I thought that was really interesting. It does explain things in Force Awakens, why she was overpowered, like super powerful, and why she was able to do things that she did. And maybe not why does she fly the Falcon really well. Like, that part was kind of like, how is that a Palpatine thing? That's an Anakin thing, but that's just me. But I loved it. I thought I was on board with it. And it doesn't really undermine The Last Jedi. I like I like the idea that you don't have to be from a Force-sensitive family to be a Jedi. You don't. But the thing is, Force Awakens presented all these ideas that she's special, and then in the next movie they say, oh, you're not. But in this film, it's like, well, that's the thing. This film does show, like, you're special, but not special good. You're special, like, you're inherited this from an evil person that literally almost destroyed the whole, like, universe. So it's very interesting. The aspects that they bring in from the previous 2 films, I really like that they've kind of drawn over here. If there's one positive amongst a few that I have with The Last Jedi, is that film does show a journey that Rey, Poe, and Finn go through, where Rey learns to become a better Jedi, Finn learns to take up a cause, and Poe tries to become a better leader. And that transfers into this film. I personally think that was seamless and was beautiful, and here you really do see that. Rey has to learn to be alone in this fight and try to find the strength to fight the Emperor. Finn takes up the cause and really does want to fight with the Resistance, and he actually becomes a general. Like, it's amazing. And Poe, the lessons that he learned from the previous film does help in here, because sadly, like, within the story, Leia does die, and he becomes the new leader of the Resistance. I thought, like, wow, this is so, like, everything felt like it was going towards here. And I know a lot of people complained about J.J. Abrams not connecting the dots well from the previous films. I think he did a good job. Come on, the last movie didn't really leave a lot of things open-ended. The fact that he did that in this film was not bad at all. I thought he did a really good job. I really, when I mentioned earlier about Carrie Fisher, I love how they really well handled her death. That was a really beautiful scene. It's sad, and then they continue that where Harrison Ford comes back as Han and they reenact the same scene from The Force Awakens with Ben, and I thought that was a beautiful redemptive moment for Ben Solo, and you do get closure with Han finally. And I think this film really helped, even though you don't see all three of them together. I really love that they do give a beautiful send-off to Luke, Han, and Leia, this trio that I loved when I was a kid. And granted, they're all gone now, but it was held with such manner and respect. Speaking of manner and respect, now I'm going to another thing. I loved when Rey, when a lot of things were going in her mind and she didn't know how to handle it, she goes back to Octu, the planet where Luke was hiding in, throws her lightsaber, and Luke catches it and says a Jedi's weapon has to be handled with more respect. I love that. Personally, I felt that was a jab at the beginning of Last Jedi, because Luke just throws the lightsaber, but here he's like, it handles with more respect. And in the story of Star Wars, yeah, a Jedi's weapon really isn't that like big deal, like in the sense of like, it's more you're more focused on the Force. But in the overall lore of Star Wars, a Jedi's weapon is important for protecting people and protecting the galaxy. But yes, the main two aspects is that Rey is a Palpatine, Leia passes away. Oh, the things that I did love with this film, and don't worry, there's gonna be stuff that I did not like. I love that they were able to bring back previous Jedis from the entire series, even from the cartoons, from Hayden as Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mace Windu, Kanan from Rebels, Ezra, Ahsoka. Like, they brought in so many people, and it was a beautiful moment. And I thought that was an amazing Star Wars moment of seeing the Jedis from the past all culminating into this one moment of showing that Rey does have, 1,000 generations of Jedi within her. And I think it's not just with her, but it's supposed to show that anyone that in the story, within the story, that if you're a Jedi, the 1,000 generations are always backing you up and behind you. And I thought that's a beautiful moment. I loved it. It was great. I enjoyed it. There is problems, and the few problems that I have, maybe the Palpatine part was a little issue. There's like one piece, like a few pieces of dialogue that were kind of like, but I don't know. Because I don't know if that was the film being coy about it or they're trying to like fix some stuff up. But there's a part where they're trying to destroy the Star Destroyers that are about to get released and go over the universe. And one of the characters mentions, oh, why don't we just do the Holdo maneuver? And I'm like, you mean that stupid maneuver from The Last Jedi? And then they acknowledge that you can't do that because that's 1 in a million. See, it's hard to complain about it because sure that scene's beautiful in Last Jedi, but it does bring in like a problem. Like, wouldn't everyone just do that? And here they acknowledge you can't just do that, but it's like, what? And I felt like that was a scene that they're just gonna look in the camera like, see, you can't do it. And I'm like, oh, it was so dumb. It didn't ruin the film. It was just that little piece of dialogue. But yeah, this film does have a few like issues where a lot of stuff is kind of thrown in there. I'm talking about like rushing the plot. Oh, we have 16 hours before the Star Destroyers get released and all this stuff. Oh, randomly the Emperor, people started hearing his voice and now he's back. And the one thing that I did not know until this morning was that was something that was in Fortnite. So stupid.
At last the work of generations is complete. The great error is corrected. The day of victory is at hand. The day of revenge. The day of the Sith.
So you're telling me that the beginning opening crawl that mentions that the universe had heard the Emperor's voice and that he's returning, and that was never acknowledged in anything of Star Wars media, but it was acknowledged first in Fortnite? Are you kidding me? That's stupid. It doesn't ruin the film. I'm just thinking like in terms of marketing, like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, there couldn't have been like a short, like 2-minute video, just like a prologue before Rise of Skywalker, just to hype up the film, and like a little, like not a clip, but like its own little short 2-minute movie where that gets acknowledged, and then it would have been like great. It would have hyped a lot of people up. But Fortnite, really? Oh yeah. At first, Endgame. Oh, that's another thing. Endgame and this. They both are finalities to their own franchises, and they both have Fortnite stuff. Are you kidding? Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'm ranting over nothing. But one last thing I loved the ending. I loved how it ended with the twin binary sunset from A New Hope, that Rey gets Leia's lightsaber and Luke's lightsaber. Oh yeah, Leia has a lightsaber. That's pretty cool. Puts it under the sand out of respect. And to me, it's like to show that it's like a memoriam for them, because it's the end of their journey too. And then she brings out her own lightsaber, and it's amazing because like it's yellow or orange or something. And I don't even know what the color that represents in the Star Wars canon. But I just love that it just ends on a beautiful ending shot of one of the most iconic shots in Star Wars. It really felt like an amazing finality to this trilogy and possibly all 9 films. Don't listen to all the reviews. If you spoil it, fine, sure, but go with it with your own perspective. This film is I feel like it's going to drive fans in a division just like what Last Jedi did. But the thing I'm kind of noticing is that critics loved Last Jedi, fans hated it, or the audience hated it, and this one I'm noticing the audience loves it, but the critics hate it. So it's a little jarring. All I could say is watch it with your own perspective. If all the things that I said I liked, you don't like, then that's fine. But I would say just watch it under your own accord and try to evaluate it. I might change my values on this movie, but overall, this film didn't really anger me. It didn't really make me upset. It made me feel like, oh, this is Star Wars again. And I haven't felt that since, the first episode of Mandalorian. But it's like, it just felt really great. And it really it rejuvenated the franchise all while ending everything. But yeah, that's my Star Wars Star Wars Rise of Skywalker review. I hope you guys enjoy it. I tried to make a really crazy spectacle in the beginning of this review, but I just really wanted to get this review out and talk about this film. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think I might have one more video before the end of the year, so hope we'll see what that is. It might just be another edit of something. But I really appreciate you guys really sticking towards this review, and I'm very thankful. So yeah, go watch Rise of Skywalker, have your own thoughts. But yeah, thanks guys.
I'm solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, solo. Picking up my blaster, putting it on my side. I'm jumping in my Falcon, whooping at my side. I'm solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, solo. I'm Han Solo,
So far, so
I'm Han
good.
Solo.